Oh. This is my family here, Stan Posey, Taylor Posey over here filming everything, and then Kendra Posey. And she's Kendra, named Dr. Kenneth and Sandra, my sister, and Kenneth. I was about her age when PIma College started. And I remember coming to these, and I had so much fun with this group. I was so proud of it. My dad would be so touched if they were here. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. PIma College. All of you guys were so important in our lives. What an amazing blessing.
A little louder. Yeah.
What a blessing. My dad would be so pleased to see all the faces and everyone here. We are so grateful. I think I'm going to turn it back over to you for now. I don't know that I can say any more without this being
Video.
I want to share with you a short story of when I first met Dr. Ken Harper. It was in April of 1970. I just gotten out of a computer institute in Tucson, and I heard about this new college in my hometown of Tucson, and I went and checked it out with a couple of my friends at this former Catholic girls' school on Wilmot Road, Via Carondelet. And my first impression of Dr. Harper was that he had tremendous energy, and that energy was contagious. And he had this deep belief as I was conversing with him and commitment of making this new community college in Tucson available to individuals like me. At the time, I was a 19-year-old Mexican-American kid from South Tucson, had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. But he said, hey, PIma's for you. And he also said, it's okay to call me Ken. And that the underlying philosophy at PIma was to take a student from where he is to where he wants to go. Not knowing what I wanted to do with my life, that sounded kind of cool. This new community college in Tucson would be different, as indicated in the early press releases, to serve the community. A preview of PIma College. I connected 3 years ago with Ken. We spent much time reflecting on the years at PIma. We often spoke of innovation, risk-taking, trying something new, but also the consequences of such actions. He'd come visit my honors psychology classes at Glendale Community College. He'd talk about living life to the fullest and enjoying each day as it was your last. My students appreciated him as he taught them Tai Chi, Samba dancing, and shared his passion of drawing with them. I got to know and appreciate the type of human being he was. Now let me share with you, before I introduce Mrs. Gloria Malone, when I first met Rudy J. Malone, it was in June of 1970. After my few encounters with Dr. Malone, I became a sponge, as I wanted to learn as much as I could from this incredibly bright man. I'd go ask Millie, remember Millie, his secretary? Allison, you remember this? I'd go ask Millie if Dr. Malone left any books for me today. No matter how busy he was, he'd always make time for me. He became my mentor and guide throughout my emerging adulthood years, personally and professionally. I had the privilege and pleasure of being on the faculty at Gavilan College in Gilroy, California, where Rudy was president. I remember going to see him after completing my PhD and announcing that I didn't want to pursue a career as an administrator and that I wanted to follow my passion for teaching. I sensed he was a bit disappointed. Yet he knew somehow that I would be happier and more productive as a faculty member. He taught me many life lessons, and I loved him as my second dad. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce Mrs. Gloria Malone and ask her to share any memories of Rudy during the early years of PIma College. Gloria.
PIma College to Rudy was the chance that he had to put into actual practice the things that he has studied and experienced in his previous career, and put into practice the principles that he very and deeply believed about the community college. He had such deep appreciation for the idea and uniqueness of the community college in America as an institution that was created in this country, and the basic principles that underlies the community college, which for the first time breaks open education to everybody and made it possible for everybody to attend higher education regardless of sex, of color, background, even if you hadn't finished high school, unthinkable. Fact that women are welcome, unthinkable. If you remember the times of very few women were going on. So a lot of these very basic things that we now take for granted were really deep inside Rudy, that he saw the chance to make come true at PIma College. So his excitement was palpable to me. And coming here and meeting, on top of that, meeting kindred spirits, people who believed like he did, and he would come home and tell me about some of the people that, the new ones there, at the villa and all of that, that shared with him the excitement that they had, which was at that time almost an impossible dream, because even though the community had agreed to set up, a community college, as we well know, there were a lot of hurdles to overcome. The college was not that welcomed by every faction in the community, and yet you had this core of faculty that believed and worked hard, and not only that, they really enjoyed each other. And I see that here, because here we are, years and years afterward, you're still meeting and enjoying each other's company. So I want to salute you for this honor to Ken, and really to this faculty who still meet together and continue to work. Although most of you have retired, continue to work towards that ideal that started PIma College. Thank you, because that to me, I think, is also honoring Rudy. Thank you.
Thank you, Gloria. Thank you very much for those inspiring words. Let me, if I may, take you down the walk down memory lane. I want to share with you some newspaper clippings talking about the first faculty institute and its participants prior to the opening of the college in fall 1970. So let me just share some of these newspaper articles that I find fascinating. I think you will. One of the things that I want you to notice is this sign up here. I think we all totally agree that we're community college lovers. This is something that in the fall of 1971, Stu Lancaster, as you all remember, was our public relations marketing individual, and he and a group of people came up with this idea in terms of promoting not only PIma College as it was known then, the name change took place in '72, but just promoting community college education. So I've kept that, and it's weathered the storm a few years. But let me share with you, if I may, ladies and gentlemen, and I'll quote my resources here. This comes from a PIma College newsletter, winter 1969. And this is the developmental staff on board. And these are some of the people of which are with us today, at least one or two, I believe. Joseph Cosentino, one of the first to be hired at PIma College. Joe, where's Joe? Again, many of these individuals that I'll indicate have passed on. They're PIma pioneers that are on our list here. There's some other people: Lester Hayes, Jim Kellogg, Ernest Oppenheimer, Richard Snyder. And by the way, in my archival research, it indicates here that Dr. Snyder, curriculum specialist in the area of humanities and communications, was PIma College's first employee, serving as administrative assistant to the college board during their selection of a president. Some other things that I share with you. This is from the Star 7669. PIma College plans advancing. Staff appointments made final to the board include the following: Adalberto Guerrero, Director of Special Reading Programs; Louise Bronson, Faculty Development Specialist; Lloyd Grable, I believe, Physical Education; Paul Kuiper, Photography and Art; James Lowell, Biological Science; Philip Lopez, Latin American Studies and Anthropology; Leland Scott, Political and Social Sciences; Norbert Pittner, German and Mathematics; Charles Lochner, Radiology; Otis Bronson, Creative Writing; Bill Kopanicki, Curriculum Specialist in Business; James Lowell, Curriculum Consultant in Life Sciences; Bill Brooks, Consultant in Botany and Ecology; and Rudy Wolf, Curriculum Consultant to Machine Trades. I'd like to read very quickly the people that were involved in the first institute, during the first institute and the summer institute: Arthur Alberding, Louise Bronson, Otis Bronson, William Brooks, Nicholas Bush, Irvin Coyne, Joe Cosentino, Walter Ditzler, Susan Finch, Elizabeth Gonzalez, Adalberto Beto Guerrero, Constant Howard, Pat Ruby, Vera Jones, Margaret Kensky, Bob Kerwood, Bill Kopanicki, Paul Kuiper, Charles Lochner, Phil Lopez, Jim Lowell, Daniel Martin, Virginia McFarland, Rudy Malone, Abby Miller, Ken Mueller, Mats Merriman, Diego Navarrete, Barbara Oakman, Bruce Palmer, Don Paris, Norbert Pittner, Fern Ramirez, Sharon Rankin, Dave Rutherford, Edna Ross, Arthur Sachs, Francis Schering, Lee Scott, Mike Sita, Richard Snyder, Lee Stackhouse, Stella Teeter, Rudy Wolf, Gil Kenny, and Roger Yashino. This came out in one of the perspectives that Kenneth Harper presented. This is circa 1970. It says, PIma College is 4 months into a professional development institute. The college community hopes may demonstrate some ways in which teaching can better meet the needs of students. As teacher students this institute year, the 31 men and women who will form the nucleus of PIma College faculty are aware they are pioneers, selected as representatives of the various kinds of students who will serve by PIma College. The goal is to demonstrate the workability of the goals of PIma's founders defined when the college first proposed an open door to all seeking further education. An atmosphere of hospitality and welcoming to all individuals from any heritage, course offerings appropriate both to job entry and college transfer, and an abiding dedication to the philosophy that good education is that which inspires the individual to continue to learn all his life. Another clipping, PIma College staff learn Spanish. Don't be too surprised if you drop by PIma College some morning as you pull up into the parking lot and hear the sweet, soft strains of La Paloma waving over the desert flora. There'll be college faculty you're hearing priming themselves for their early morning Spanish language seminar and Mexican lessons. The staff and faculty of the school is seemingly bent on bilingualism, so much so that in fact they come to school 45 minutes early every day to speak Spanish and learn something of Mexican culture. What seems like a good idea, really, PIma College can be expected to have a substantial enrollment of Mexican American extraction, since it will serve an area that figuratively has one foot in Mexico. The college would do well to be all around international as it can be. And it indicates here each morning at 8:15 in the morning, the group gathers, led either by Diego Navarrete, Adalberto Guerrero, Elizabeth Gonzalez, Fern Ramirez, Raquel Goldsmith, Phil Lopez, or Rudy Wolf. Another article that I saw here. Remember, the Faculty Institute, first Faculty Institute, took place in September 1969, where there were a group of 33 pioneering PIma faculty. At the end of that year, May 1969, 100 more faculty were trained by the faculty that had just completed a one-year training. A prime hope of the college is to give all students an appreciation of different cultures and an awareness of how individuals relate to each other. Quote by Dr. Malone. Malone expresses consternation that the Institute sometimes is erroneously labeled a faculty training program. Perhaps the most unique feature of the Institute is that its concept is not one of training teachers, but allowing them to design the educational elements that will set PIma apart from traditional institutions. And I further quote Dr. Malone, PIma isn't telling the faculty do things this way or that way. It's giving teachers an opportunity to define their goals as educators and carefully plan the best methods and programs they can to achieve their goals. Remember the first catalog? First catalog? Let me read a couple other things from the catalog, and then we're going to open it up, an open mic for everybody. To serve the community, a preview of PIma College. Outlook and approach. PIma College is interested in what a student is now. Applicants will be admitted regardless of past performance. The faculty will help each student to develop an individual program. And you see, as I was learning more and more about PIma prior to enrolling, I was hearing new terminology like student-centered learning, participatory democracy. Remember that one? And the one that I really liked was taking a student where he is to where he wants to go. Programs. Again, this appears in the first catalog. By the way, I noticed Dr. Lee Scott and his wonderful wife, Edwina. Lee, welcome. And again, I quote from the early catalog, the first catalog of PIma College. An intercultural program is designed to help students identify with the values of their own culture and to help people from one culture communicate clearly with people from other cultures. It will focus on the responsibility of each individual to the total community. A further goal is to make all instruction in the college clear and relevant to students. from all cultural backgrounds, intercultural courses, Afro-American, American Indian, Mexican American, and Oriental studies will be incorporated in the offerings of a course of disciplines, and special interest courses will be taught in Spanish. And here's something that I want to share with especially Sue Finch. I don't know, is Shirley here? Shirley Chen? Yeah. Clara's here. Very good. Ladies, I especially want to share this with you and the rest of you. It's titled Multilingual Electronic Brain. And these are pictures that were taken at the infamous airplane hangar. You all remember that? Okay, here we go. PIma College's IBM 36025, temporarily located in the college's hangar quarters at Tucson International Airport, speaks 5 languages, including the intro computer language COBOL. Other computer languages have such names as Fortran, RPG, BAL. Remember those, ladies? Yeah, I learned them from you. Now here's one. Joe, where's Joe? Joe Cosentino. Remember, this is circa 1969, just before the college opened up in the fall of 1970. And I quote, PIma College plans to computer register 150 students every 30 minutes. Whoa! Whoa! Joe, I don't know how you did it, pal. But you remember those little IBM cards? Remember those?
Yeah. Renee, I also remember my office at the hangar.
Hey?
It was in the kitchen with gas pipes sticking up, paint peeling off the windows, and so it was one of the classier offices.
Stay tuned. We're going to get a chance to hear from many of you in terms of the hangar and or other things. A couple of final things, ladies and gentlemen, and then we're going to open it up. And this is a picture from the Tucson Independent, 9/9/1970. There's a picture of the airport, the airplane hangar, Tucson International Airport, and on the bottom it's the construction of the brand new campus on West Anklam Road. And I read from the Tucson Independent. September 8th, 1970 marks the opening of PIma College. 44 students will be on hand, mainly from Pima County, for the first day of classes. 40% of the college enrollment will attend school at the Anklam Road campus, completed September 1st. 4 more buildings are anticipated opening February 1st. The remaining 60% of the students' enrollment will be housed at Tucson International Airport. Dr. Ken Harper, college president, verbalized the aim of the college when he said, and I quote, "Turning the technical man out, a fully rounded man, competent to deal with his fellow man, able to see this world as his client sees it, with ability to verbalize and think ahead. That is the aim of PIma College." Cross-culturalization is another tenet of PIma College. Several business courses, including business, are being offered in Spanish. Besides Spanish courses in Papago and Swahili are being offered this first year of existence. Dr. Rudy Malone, Vice President in charge of Academic Affairs, says, and I quote, "PIma College is not a university. All people don't want to go to college. There should be a way to defer adulthood with a meaningful educational experience, a comprehensive post-high school experience for everyone." End of quote. And ladies and gentlemen, I want to read off the staff. This is circa 1970 when the college opened its doors. Read to you the staff, board members, representative of the state board. Arthur Alberding, Mathematics; Vernon Andrews, Bayer; Grover Banks, Intercultural Studies; Louise Bronson, Psychology, Sociology; Otis Bronson, Communication, Humanities; William Brooks, Ecology; Nicholas Bush, Biology; Irvin Coyne, Music; Joseph Cosentino, Registrar; Walter Ditzler, Business, Industrial; Susan Finch, Electronic Data Processing; Robert George, Purchasing; Raquel Goldsmith, Social Sciences; Elizabeth Gonzalez, Secretarial Studies; Adalberto Guerrero, Spanish Reading Programs; Kenneth Harper, President; Lester Hayes, Computer Center; Constant Howard, Home Economics; Pat Ruby, Physics, James Kellogg, Physical Plant, Gil Keddy, Audiovisual Graphics, Margaret Kensky, Government, Robert Kerwood, County Vocational Coordinator, Jack Copen, Automotive, William Kopenicki, Business, Paul Kuiper, Photography, Charles Lochner, Chemistry, Ethel Loof, Librarian, Philip Lopez, Anthropology, James Lowell, Botany, Daniel Martin, Geography, Virginia McFarland, Communications, Humanities, Rudolph Malone, Academic Affairs, Abby Miller, Government, Kenneth Mueller, Industrial Technologies, Mass Meerman, Earth Environmental Science, Diego Navarrete, English as a Second Language, Barbara Oakman, Reading, Ernest Oppenheimer, Student Development, Bruce Palmer, Economics, Don Q. Paris, Radiology, Norm Pittner, Mathematics, German, Fern Ramirez, French, Sharon Rankin, Audiovisual Cataloger, David Rutherford, Electronics, Edna Ross, Nursing, Arthur Sachs, Business, Francis Schering, Accounting, Leland Scott, Social Sciences and Humanities, Barbara Sears, Community Relations, Dean Sinclair, Chemistry, Michael Sita, Communications Humanities, Robert Smith, Comptroller, Richard Snyder, Curriculums, Lee Stackhouse, Learning Resources, Stella Teeter, Physical Education, Recreation, Charles Whitehead, Personnel, Rudy Wolf, Machine Trades. Members of the board at that time, Michael J. Harris, President Michael J. Brown, Howard Goldwyn, Thomas Navin, Maria Urquides with his secretary. Representative to the State Board, Arnold Jeffers. Ladies and gentlemen, what I would like to do